Okay, today I want to tie two of my favourite flies, the Griffiths Gnat and the double badger. They're two flies definitely to have in your dry fly box if you're, well, especially if you're fishing in South Wales. But I think they'll take trout and grayling anywhere. They both have a peacock herl body. Now, because I've going to tie two flies, I've had a little start. I've put the hook in the vise and I've waxed it, and I've started the silk, waxed the silk I mean. So I'm going to take it down to the bend. Now the Griffiths Gnat, it's the original tie-in didn't have a sparkle tail, but Charles Jardine, he added a sparkly tail like this, and he made a good fly even better. Charles Jardine, as you probably know, is a very experienced fisherman and fly tyer. Get that one out. So I've just added this because of Charles Jardine. I would take his recommendation anywhere. Now that's probably a teeny bit long, so I'll just snip it like that just to keep it in line. The sparkle tail, if you look up the tie-in of the Griffiths Gnat, it may not show that, but it does improve the fly. Okay, now it's got a grizzle hackle, which I've got here prepared, and it's tied palmer along the back, along the whole body, along the peacock body. So I'm going to tie this in now with the figure of 8 to try to get the right profile of it. Like that. I'll tie down the stalk, and I can tie the stalk along the body with a couple of winds. That secures it, because I don't want it to be pulling out when I wind it. So that's the hackle there. Right, the body, I use about 4 strands of peacock herl. I clip the tips because the tips are often a bit brittle. You can either snap them off or clip them. It doesn't matter. I put 4 in. Now and again they break. One of them will break, and you can carry on then with tying the fly if they do. But 4 are certainly okay. Okay, that's the body material on, so I'm just going to wind it. Fairly straightforward fly to tie, and I would say excellent fly for newcomers to tie, newcomers to fly tying or newcomers to fishing. If they tie this fly, they'll certainly have a cracking fly which will take trout anywhere, or grayling. Designed by George Griffiths, and I can assure you it'll take trout anywhere in the world. Okay, the grizzle hackle. It's simply just wound palmer fashion like this. That's all there is to it. When I get to the head, I often give 1 or 2 extra ones at the head, but it doesn't really matter. That's it. I will secure the hackle here. Remove the surplus hackle like that. I'll draw things back a bit just to clear the head for me to secure the fly. Griffiths Gnat really is a good fly. That's all there is to it really. I'm going to put on a whip finish, varnish the head and clear the eye, and that's the fly finished. 1, 2, 3 winds. Draw it up. Okay. I'm not going to varnish the head just yet because I've got 2 flies to tie. So I'm going to remove it from the vise, varnish the head and clear the eye in a minute or 2. Now I'll put in the next hook in the vise. The hook I'm using, size 14, Camazan B400, slightly longer shank on it, and it's I tend to use barbless hooks for my fishing today. This is what I'm going to tie next, the double badger, but just talking about the hook for a moment, if you do not have barbless hooks, just flatten the barb with the small pliers, something like this I've got. Just flatten the barb. One tip, flatten the barb before you start to tie the fly, because occasionally it will snap the point off, and if you've completed the fly, the point will be the fly will be wasted. Okay, here's number 2, and this is the double badger. I'm just waxing the silk. If you bear with me. The double badger was designed by Roger Woolley. It's been a very, very good fly for me. This has been a really cracking fly. I can't praise it enough, honestly, I can't. This one, more than ever, more than anything, is the one I put on when I'm not sure what to put on. I put on a double badger. Now it's tied in a fore and aft style. So that means a hackle at the rear here and a hackle at the front. Badger hackles. Okay, let's get one. I've selected one here. The badger hackle has got a black centre, which can give the impression of a thorax on some flies. Again, tied on dry fly style, in my opinion, figure of 8, like that. It gives the right angle for it. Take down the barb to secure it. Trace the stalk, although it doesn't matter too much on this because I could cover it with the body easy enough, but there it is. Okay, nip out the stalk. Now I will just take my silk up the front for a moment while I tie this hackle, and it's just tied sort of dry fly style, but at the rear, at the bend. This is what we mean when we say fore and aft. This is the aft hackle, not Palmer like the one I just tied. Okay, there we are. I'm going to take my silk back down to secure it. I may trap a few fibres as I get down there, but that doesn't really matter at this stage. Now that I'm down there, secure the hackle like that, tie it down and nip it off. Okay, that's the hackle. Now on this one I am going to put in a bit of a rib, because the first fly was ribbed really with the hackle, because it was wound Palmer wise along the body. But this isn't wound that way, but it is a peacock herl body. Just get back ready to tie in the peacock. I've got a rib here and I'm just using a silk rib. Now I'll get another 4 herls, 4 peacock herls. Just bear with me while I line them up here. one in there. Again, nip off the tips and I tie it in. Now, I was just about to say, there is no doubt in my mind at all that peacock herl does add some fascination for trout. I always like it in a fly. Okay, there's the peacock herl on, and I just wind it. I'll draw these hackles back so they don't trap anymore, and I'll take the peacock herl up the shank to where I will secure it, just like that. In my honest opinion and in my experience, a fly with a peacock herl body will take fish, or will be taken, irrespective of whatever natural fly is on the water. Okay, I'm going to rib it, and you'll notice I'm ribbing the opposite way. I went over with the body, this time I'm going under. This will add a little bit of protection to the peacock herl body. Peacock herl is not the strongest material. A couple of winds there, a few more just to secure it, and now I can nip off the rib like that. Okay, double badger hackle on the back, now a badger hackle on the front. You see the black center? This goes on the front. Okay, again, dry fly method, as I call it, at sort of 90 degrees, crossing over in figures of 8, like that. Tie down the stalk. This time I'll bring the stalk forward to tie it down. Doesn't matter if you take it back or forward. Tie down, nip out the surplus stalk. Now that hackle won't pull out. Famous last words, it shouldn't pull out when you wind it. Okay, here we go. That's enough. Floats well because it's got two hackles, two dry fly hackles, two good quality dry fly hackles that really help it to float. I'm going to nip out this, and I go in at the angle of the eye and nip out the surplus. Okay, draw everything back, and you can use, if you want to, cotton bud just to push back the hackles a bit like that, just to expose the head for me to secure the whole fly. That's that. So now I'm putting on the whip finish. Only need about 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. 3 winds like that. Needle in the loop. Draw it up. That is the double badger. One of my favourite dry flies, if not my most favourite. Again, I will varnish the head and I'll clear the eye, but you know, you've seen me do that on camera plenty of times. This is the Griffiths Gnat, this is the double badger, both superb flies. Can't recommend them enough, and I can only hope that any angler who cares to try these flies out on the River Ogmore or Iwenny in South Wales will find that it serves them as well, that they serve them as well as they've served me. over the years. Okay, I thank you for watching that, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'll look out for you next time on Peter Ross on Fly Tying.